Hello everyone, this is another Flutter Getx tutorial, and we'll be building an app, the one you saw earlier in the video as a demo. Okay, anyway, so if you downloaded the starter code from the link below, you will have a project like this, and in the project you'll have img folder, JSON folder, and of course our default lib folder, and we'll have this few JSON files and images that we'll be using in the project. Anyway, and at the same time, make sure that you have this version or Getx version, this one. Okay, and then don't forget to run getpub and you should be good to go. All right, so right now we have this file over here, the main.dart file. If you run it, you'll have a blank empty screen like this. Okay, so this is the default code, but now this is the home page that we want to go ahead and show once it starts. Okay, so this should be in your package, the package you downloaded from the link. Okay, so what we would do, we'll just directly change it first. Okay, and we'll see the result. So what we'll do, we'll call my home page. Okay, and then once we do that, we'll run it. Okay, yes. Okay, so we'll have a beautiful starter screen, this one. Okay, and you click on it, definitely nothing will happen. Okay, so and everything should be working fine. If you come over here, there shouldn't be any error. So the first thing we want to do, we want to be able to click on this page over here, get started, and go to a new page. But right now, of course, it's not working. But as I said earlier, that this would be a Flutter Getx tutorial or Getx app. So the first thing we want to do, we want to turn it into a Getx app. So what you need to do, you need to get GetMaterialApp instead of MaterialApp. Okay, so that's the default entrance for Getx app in Flutter. All right, and if you run it, it still work. Okay, it still work, and you shouldn't have any error. But here you'll see some of the things that being initialized. Okay, now we want to be able to navigate it. Okay, so to navigate it, a few things we could do, we can change here our initial routes. So Flutter Getx has this property which is called initial route. In general, it goes with the slash, and after that we have to define some of the pages that we want to use in our app. Okay, definitely we are trying to point to our initial route, so it has to correspond to certain things, all right, or certain pages or dart files. So that's what we want to do. So we use another property called getPages, and it has this list. Okay, so here we need to define the pages we want to use. Okay, so also get page. Now once again, the name is, in our case, we'd still be using the slash, which refers to initial route, but of course it could go to anywhere you want. Okay, for example, now we'll refer to a page which is called my home page, this one. Okay, all right, so what will happen, we'll call my home page. Okay, but of course it was earlier their home page. Okay, so but instead of Flutter default routing, would be using Getx routing. Okay, now what we'll do, if we run it once again, nothing will change. Okay, all we did just now, we had this home, right, and over here we did my home page, this one, right? Okay, now instead of doing this one, now we are doing this one, but it doesn't change anything actually, but it helps you with the basic structure of Getx. Okay, so even if you take this out, as I showed you earlier, it would work. Okay, the same thing, nothing changes. All right, but we don't want to use this. We are in Getx ecosystem, so we want to use this one, right? Okay, now once again, this page is referring this one. Okay, but with this one, the beautiful thing is you can change it. Okay, like for example, you want to refer to page like this or this. Let's go ahead and see. So we'll call content page. All right, okay, so now let's go ahead and run it. So we are seeing different pages. Okay, so these are the pages that we'll have in our app, and another page that we can use as initial route, which is detail page. So we'll just call detail page over here, and let's see. Okay, so these are three main pages that we have, and as you see, we can navigate to those pages or find those pages using initial route. So in Flutter Getx, the initial route refers to whatever the page you want to go. Okay, it doesn't really mean home page. It could take you to anywhere. All right. Anyway, so what we'll do would be going back to our my home page, because this is the page we want to bind with our initial route. Okay, so let's go ahead and save it. Now we are back to this one. Now we want to be able to click on this and go to somewhere, right? Okay, so what do we want to do? Let's take a look at this page, my home page over here. Now once again, this is not Flutter UI tutorial, so I'm not going to explain to this, but you can take a look at this thing. If you have any question, just leave a comment below. Definitely I'll answer your question as soon as possible. Okay, so this is a beautiful UI that I have done, but I'm not going to explain here. Okay, you can refer to my other tutorials. Anyway, so now here we want to click on this page, click on this button. So let's find our button. This button is this elevated button. Okay, it's somewhere line 70. Okay, and here we have this on press event. Okay, all right, so what we could do, let's go ahead and save it, run it one more time, get started. Now if we click on it, well, it's not doing anything, right? But we want to go somewhere. All right, so let's see, once we click on this thing, we may want to go to this page. Okay, content page, as we said earlier. Okay, so how to do that? But because we are in Flutter Getx ecosystem, so what we could do, we can do Get.to. all right, okay, so now we want to get to this page. So what page? Content page. So let's call this page, and it's pretty simple as that. Okay, now let's run it once again. Okay, now click on this. Yes, so our clicking is working. So just now we were the earlier page, now we click on this one, it takes us to this page. Okay, now some beautiful things about this page. Once again, I have beautifully designed this page for you guys, because I really hope that you guys show this app to your clients and get started with your career. Anyway, so these assets are all there if you download them from the link. Okay, and another thing is that this is also scrollable over here. All right, okay, so this is the page we are now. So let's go ahead and content page over here. So this is our content page. Okay, so this is the content page, and over here a lot of the things are static right now. As you can see, there's a title, the text, this images, and things over here. Okay, so now what we'll do, we'll be able to, we want to fill them in, and then we want to be able to click some of these buttons, and later on then go to other new pages. Okay, that's what we want to do, as we saw earlier in the demo section. Okay, so now the first thing we want to do, we want to be able to import some of the data. Okay, so to do that, we are going to work with our JSON files. So definitely we'll be using few JSON files here. So let's see our JSON files. So we have these 3 JSON files over here. Okay, so 2 of the JSON file we would be using in these pages. One is recent, on the detail. These two JSON files we would be using. Okay, so we want to load the JSON files. Okay, so to load them, first say we want to declare variables, 2 variables, because we want to load the JSON file and save in a variable. Okay, so we'll say first one is list, and it's for now would be empty. The second one is also list, the type of list, and the variable name is info. Okay, all right, so now we want to load our JSON files. Okay, all right, now to load our JSON file, we would be loading them in our init method. Okay, so let's go ahead and call it. So we'll call void init state. Okay, all right, now we'll call super.init state. All right, okay, now over here we'll call our function. Okay, so I'd say this would be a private function, so we'll call it read data. Okay, all right, now we'll define this function here. All right. Okay, now over here we want to load our JSON files. To load our JSON files, we'll use a function which is called DefaultAssetBundle. I guess this is it. Okay, and then it is another method, but it takes a context, so we'll pass context over here, and within it we have this method which is called loadString, and over here we'll define our JSON files path. Okay, so they're in JSON folder, and the first one we want to load is recent.json, this one. Okay, and then so this is the file we want to load from this path, and then once you load, let's save it a variable, we'll call it s. Okay, and then I guess we also need this bracket because of this one, this bracket. Okay, all right, now we want to load them, right? So this is the path, and once you load, we want to save it in a variable which is called s, and then we want to decode them. Okay, so now in general, what do? Just decode them. Then you can call json.decode, I think decode, and then you put your variable s here, and make sure you import it. I think it's already imported somewhere here, this one. Okay, but what happens once the decoding has done, you want to notify the UI that this data is ready and decoding is done, and we want to re-render everything with this data. Okay, so because of that one, you want to wrap this using a state function, set state function. Okay, so now once you load everything within set state function, the UI will know, okay, there is new data, so let's re-render it. Okay, so that's what we want to do. Okay, and of course this may take time, so that's why you want to use await. Okay, to loading and decoding, things like that. So you need to add another modifier, async, with your function. Okay, and then after that we should be pretty good to go. So this is the data that we want to load from recent.json file. Once again, take a look at this one. So this is the file over here. Okay, so there are a few images and things like that. Okay, all right, so what we'll do, let's come to this page over here. All right, so that's one thing, and the second one we also want to load is another file, this one I guess, which is called detail.json. we want to put them here, and then able to click and go to another pages. All right, okay, so let's go ahead and reload it once again. We'll just copy paste it. What we'll do, we'll change this JSON file name, and the variable instead of list, in this case we'll be putting them in info variable. Okay, and I think we should be good to go. So now our variables contain JSON JSON string, I guess, or JSON object, sorry. So now we could use them. Okay, we could get the keys and values from our JSON variable, which is called info and a list. Okay, so now the first thing you want to take care of, I guess, is over here. Okay, this page builder view, I guess. Okay, now we want to put information here. So now let's find it. So let's see, this is our James Smith, this section, sized box, popular context, and we have this another container. Now this container is the list one, which is this one. Okay, now over here we want to access our variable. So the first variable we want to access is info, which we saw early, this one. Okay, all right, so let's go ahead and do it. So now info should have a length. Okay, so whatever the length it is, we will use them. Okay, so in general the length should be 4 because I have 4 objects over here. All right, okay, so now after that, you might want to check whether it's null or not. Okay, so if it's null, then we'll use 0. Okay, if info, let's see, So well, now this is the length. So in general, whatever the objects you have here, it should be the number. In our case, it would be 4. Okay, and after that here, let's see some of the things we want to change, like the title. Okay, so we are going to loop through it, which I already have done it. Okay, so the index is I. So all we need to do, we need to call info I. Now we want to access the key from here, like for example this one. So let's see. So info is using detail, sorry. So let's go and find this JSON file, detail. Okay, instead of using this one, we'll be using that later. Okay, now over here. Okay, now here we have a couple of information like name, title, text, and time. So we'll be using all of them. Okay, so now the first one we want to use, I guess that should be the title. Okay, okay, now let's rerun our app. Now let's click on this. Okay, so the titles are already showing, as you can see over here. All right, okay, so what we'll do, we'll go ahead and fill up all this information very quickly. Okay, now this one, I would say the text. Okay, this is this field, I guess, text field. Okay, so what we'll do, we'll just call info I text. All right, so as you see already, it's showing up over there. All right, the next one we want to do is the images we want to change. Okay, now right now this is the only one image that's showing up everywhere. Okay, so what we do, we'll just go ahead and change the images over here. So we'll call info I img, and once again this is this key img. Okay, so now let's go ahead and save it. Now as you see, they are changing. So every time here this title and this information is different, like e-commerce app, e-commerce, logo app. So I just change a little bit, but of course the images are same for now. We can change the images based on different JSON file and information, but that would increase the complexity. So I'll leave it up to you. You can change it later, and if you have questions, you can just ask me or leave a comment below and I'll help you. Okay, all right. So that's pretty much with this section. Now we want to be able to click on this and go to somewhere, right? So, and this is the most exciting part for Getx. Okay, now here on GestureDetector has a property which is called onTap. So we want to be able to use this one. Okay, okay, so once we click on this one, we want to go to somewhere. Okay, so Get.toNamed. So we'll use the named route. The route name is detail. Okay, all right, that's all we want to do. Okay, we want to be able to click on this and go somewhere. Okay, now let's go ahead and save it and see. Okay, I think we need to use this semicolon over here. So now let's go ahead and see if we can click and what happens after clicking. Okay, so now of course we can able to scroll through them. Now click on this. Now it doesn't go anywhere. Okay, that's because you said it's a named route. So once you have named a route, you have to define the route over here. Okay, so let's go ahead and define it. So get page. So our route name is detail. Okay, so this is the route name and it should go somewhere once you call this route. So where will it go? It will go to a page which is called my detail, this page. Okay, so this is the page where we want to go. So now let's come to this file and we'll call detail page. Okay, So now this is a route. Well, this route can of course take you anywhere. All right, now we are going to this page. So let's go ahead and save it and run it and see if we are able to navigate to that page. So from here, and now let's click on this. Yes, so it's working, right? So we are clicking on this and it took us to this place, this page. Now we can go back, or maybe we can't. Now we'll fix that later. I think we should fix it first. So let's go to this page where it says my detail, and I think here is a container. There should be at the top. Now of course for now it's null, it's not taking you anywhere, right? So we can change it, but once again, because we are in Getx, so we'll just do Get.to. Now let's see, we can do Get.back, so it'll take us to the previous page. Okay, let's run it once again. So click on this. Now let's click on this, so it takes us to the previous page. So once again, in Getx, if you use Get.back, it takes you to the earlier page, wherever you came from. Of course we can do Get.to and say define a page where we want to go. Okay, but in this case I don't think we need that. Okay, we're pretty good. All right, now okay, the next thing we want to do, once we click on these things, we want to pass the title, name, text, and other related information. Okay, that's what we want to do. We want to be dynamic. Okay, so now to do that, from here we need to pass some arguments. Okay, and in Flutter Getx it's much easier. Just call arguments and it takes a list. Okay, now over here you can pass list of arguments that you want to pass. Okay, so well, definitely we want to pass argument for our title. So title, and then I think we can transfer it to string. Okay, so now you need to pass it to a variable so that you can grab it. So we'll call the variable is a title. Okay, that's how you write it. All right, so let's see, do you have any error? We should, oh, I think I shouldn't use this. I should use this one actually. And over here, yeah, so it's not that third bracket, I think it's second bracket. Okay, sorry. So now let's go ahead and save it. So let's make sure we are doing good. Yes, so no error, that means this section is working. But now we need to receive it in our page, in detail page. Okay, so what we could do, we can find where it is, this section. I believe this should be somewhere, let's see, positioned widget. So let me find this word, which is called title. Control F, title. Okay, I think it is here. It should be here. Okay, so now over here we need to grab it, and it's with the Flutter Getx it's much easier. All we need to do, we do get.arguments, this one, and name of the variable that you took this value. So the variable name is a title. So what we would do, we'll just put it here, title. Okay, now we'll save it. Yes, so the title being passed. Okay, now let's confirm with another slide. So the title is being passed. It's pretty dynamic. So click on this, and the logo has been the title for logo app is being passed as well. Okay, so that's pretty cool, right? So now what I'll do, we'll just I'll just copy paste this one and pass a couple of other arguments very quickly. All right, I guess second one we can use as text, and this is text as well. The third one, say name, we'll do name. And next one, say img, so we are passing an image, image path actually, not really an image, the path. You don't want to pass image, that would be too heavy. You always want to pass image path and the time. Okay, now all these things are being passed to this page. Okay, so all we need to do, we need to grab them in this file one by one. Okay, so let's see what is being passed next. So we saw the text, name, img. So all we could do, we can just find them and replace. So I guess this is the text one. So once again, we'll do, let me copy this thing, and over here just put it and call it text. All right, let's save it and make sure, yeah, the text is being passed, right? Let's do it Yahoo app. Yes, Yahoo app, Yahoo app, Yahoo app, right? So everything is being passed pretty smoothly. Now over here, instead of name, we'll do arguments name, and once again this corresponds to this section over here, name, 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 right? Okay, so let's go back to our file, this one more time. Deadline, I don't think we need to change. Okay, what we could do, we can save and see that things are being changed. And another thing over here, I think this one we can change as well. Let us see our oh, okay, so this is price key. So all we need to do, we need to come to page over here and create another argument, and we'll call it price, and this is coming from variable price, and this price, this field or key has to do with this one over here, right? Okay, so now let's go to our detail page over here. We'll just call, sorry, what we could use, copy. Let's copy this one and come to this section over here, so line 207, and over here we'll put it and change the name to price. Okay, now let's see, I think we have an error. Okay, so let's restart our app. Actually, maybe it will fix our issues. Sometimes it happens. Yes, so the price is 200 for delivery app, and say for e-commerce app the price is different. Okay, so every time it's dynamic. All right, and the names are different as well. Okay, now over here we want to change this thing. Okay, now our names and images are same, so we want to display dynamic images and name. Okay, to change the names, let's find our file, which is called my detail, and it should be at the top over here. Let's see, I think somewhere here, right? Okay, so instead of background image, what we'll do, we'll just call, let's see, circle avatar. So we'll do get arguments, get.arguments, and over here we'll call img. Okay, and it will have the image path, and it will take the image path as an image and it will show it. Okay, yes, as you see, it changed, and we can also change the name over here. So once again, get.arguments and the name. So these are the things we already passed in this section. So let's go ahead and change it. The name should be changed. Okay, let's see. So now this is the first slide. This name is different. The guy and name, everything is dynamic, right? Now let's go ahead and click on the second one. The guy is different, the name is different, everything else is different. So everything is working pretty fine so far. So we are happy with this section, right? Okay, so now what else we want to take care? So there are these images, right? So once you click on them, you also want to able to see different images for our guys. Okay, so now let's come down to this section. I think it should be right below total participants. Let's see where it is. I think let's see, total participants, and it's over here, right? Okay, now as I said earlier, in this page we want to deal with some other JSON files. let's see the JSON files. So I think this is the JSON file we want to use right now, img. Okay, all right, so let's see, img, this one. Okay, so I think here we have some images that we can use directly. To do that, so let me, what we do to be able to look good, let me collapse them, because right now it looks a bit messy. Okay, over here, let's get organized. A lot of code. Over here. Okay, we are pretty good now. So a background image, okay, so we want to deal with these sections over here. Okay, so here we want to load bunch of images and show them dynamically. Okay, so to load them, once again here we can use actually we can copy some of the code from here. Let's say we copy everything from here to this one and come to this page and paste them. All right, now I guess we don't really need this recent section for now, so we'll delete that, and we'll also delete this one. Now I'll call it a new variable imgs, and imgs. Now instead of detail.json, we'll use img.json, which is this one. Okay, now with this we already worked on this function early, so it should be really good. It shouldn't have any problem. Okay, let's run it and see that it doesn't throw any error. Okay, now let's come to a different page. Now let's click on this. Okay, so far we are good, no errors. Now we want to be able to use this variable. It holds a lot of information from this file, okay, especially the images information, so we want to just take care of this thing, I mean, to be able to show this one. Okay, and we'll be showing this one over here. Okay, so now I'm using a for loop inside this stack widget, so just go ahead and call it imgs.length. So now whatever the images it has, that should be the length. Okay, and now over here we want to access them dynamically, so what we'll do, imgs_i, and the key is ing. So once again, this I is the index, which is this one. Okay, now let's go ahead and run it and see. Okay, let's click on them. Yes, so as you see, the images are a bit different. I mean, they're different images, right? Just now it was the same image. Okay, so now our links are all working once again. Okay, all right, but for each of them actually you can use a whole lot of different images, but now in that case you'd be needing a lot of JSON file, different JSON file. But in the real world, of course, they would be coming from your database. Those information you'd convert into JSON and then show here, but you get the idea. Okay, all right. Okay, so the next thing we want to do, another thing we want to do, we want to be able to change these images. Okay, these images over here. All right, so these images are in a file called contentpage.dart over here. Okay, I think this should be let me collapse them. Okay, it's pretty messed up right now. We don't need so many of them. Okay, so we'd be using the last section, which is expanded over here. Once again, the UI has been done. Okay, now we want to change this one. Okay, to show the images. Okay, now let's see what we can use. Our detail has a few of the images over here. Okay, actually we can use any of this JSON file to show different images and information. Okay, so I think I would be using recent.json. Let's see, recent.json has already been loaded. So, and the variable, the information is saved in this variable, which is list. So what we could do, we can just directly access it over here, list dot and then length. So with this we'll get the length value, and now here what we'll do, we'll just access it. So we'll do list img. Okay, now let's save it. Yes, so we have different images now, as well as we can change this things, status and the text like that. Okay, so what we do, we'll call list I and status. Okay, the status should be changed, and they already did, but they're too small. What we could do, we can change to a bigger font, I guess. So we'll do say 18, so it looks a bit bigger. Okay, and the color, let me use a different color to look better. So I would use say this one, orange color. Yes, now it looks much better. Okay, and this one you also want to change. For now it is a text, so let's see our file. Yeah, we can use the same key, which is a text. Okay, so let's go ahead and change it. So we'll do list I text. Once again, this JSON file would be coming in real life from your server. So in general, you also don't need JSON folder most of the time. Okay, they're directly coming from server, and in this back end of the server you need to convert them to JSON, or in Flutter you can do the same actually. Anyway, so now let's come to this page and save it. Yeah, so now we have different text. All right, yeah, as you can see. All right, so everything is good so far. Now another thing we want to do, we want to be able to click one of these buttons over here and to go to a different pages, and for that would be using Flutter Getx. Okay, all right, now this is the page, and over here, let's see, recent contest. Yeah, we can use this. This is the place where we want to deal with. So let's open it up, recent contest, and over here show all. We didn't show all here. Yeah, GestureDetector. So over here we want to create onTap event and as well as an icon. So first we'll deal with this child, and the child is icon. We can use icons arrow. Now we want to use forward arrow, this one, and let's select the color with the colors dot white. Okay, now let's save it. Yes, the icon is there. Now we want to create a tap event, so we'll call onTap, this one, and now we want to go to somewhere. Okay, now to be able to do that, what we could do, we can just call Get.to, and then we can create a page. Okay, and we'll go to that page. So the page name, say all or we'll call it recent contests. Okay, and we'll close it with semicolon. Now of course this file is not created. This section I didn't do in your default file, which you downloaded from the link. So I'll create a new file here, and I'll call it recent contest.dart. Okay, now okay, just say yes, and so we'll create a stateful file, and we'll call it recent contests. Okay, I think we need to import some of the libraries. Okay, this one. Okay, now for this one, what we could do, simply we can copy this code. Okay, and this code is somewhere, say for example, okay, now I think we have an error, so let's take care of this one first. So we can import it, the error should be gone, and if you save it and now click on this, it'll take you a new page. Of course it's black, completely black right now, so we want to change this page. Okay, and instead of container, we'll return scaffold over here, scaffold, and scaffold has a body section, so we'll do body. Okay, and within body we want to return a container, and container, and within container we want to change the, okay, so let's see, change the background color for scaffold, and we'll do color OXFFF CBE 6F6. okay, now let's save it. Yes, so this is the background color, right? Okay, well, once again this is being connected from here, so as we clicked on it, it came over here. All right, okay, now within it we want to create say child, and within child we do say column. Okay, and within column we want to do say children, right? And we will use expanded widget. Okay, and within it we'll use a child which is called single child scroll view. If we don't do these things, actually we would get error because we want the whole page to be scrollable. Okay, all right, okay, and once again within it we'll have a column, and then we'll have children. Okay, now this section here we want to put some code. That code, actually, let's see, we can copy directly from here. Let's collapse it, and this is the code actually that we can copy. This is the code we can copy, this part, and just put it I would say right here. And before we do that, actually we can do, let's see, now definitely it would show some error because it's looking for some of this information that it doesn't have. Now what you can do, we can copy this file over here. Okay, so what we do, we'll copy this one and put it over here, and I guess what we'll do, we'll just keep this info, this variable, and the others we don't need. And it's asking to import a library. Let's do it. Import the convert library, and it's imported. Now let's see, we still have another error, so it's asking to import the getx file, so we'll do that. Import package get.dart, this one. Okay, now the error should be gone. Now let's save it. Well, now it's being cranky and throwing an error because, let's see, this one with, okay, so it is saying that we don't have this one. So what we do, we'll just copy this section, which is the width, and put it over here. Okay, so now let's save it, run it. Nothing is there yet, so let's run it one more time. Now get started. Now we click on this. Yes, so everything is there, right? But now we want them to be scrollable up and down, not left and right. Okay, yes, so let's see what are we doing just now. We were here. Okay, yeah, so we want to be able to loop through them. Okay, because right now it's not really looping through. So what we do, we'll call this for loop. We'll int I equals 0 and I info length and I plus plus. Okay, all right, Let's see. And now this, because of this page view builder, it's being left and right like this. So we can remove this section. Okay, so first remove this, I guess. Let's see, this one. Okay, and over here at the top, let's see, remove this completely. Okay, remove this section completely, and we still have this error. I think we also need to remove this one. Okay, the error is gone. Okay, now because of this one, I think we'll have this let's see, run it. Okay, now yeah, it's scrollable, or not scrollable yet, because the content, they're all packed, right? So we want to change the height of this thing. So instead of 220, so let's do height of 300, and let's save it. Okay, now it's scrollable, as you can see, but of course it looks a bit ugly. What do? We can add some padding or margin to it. So we'll add some margin to it. Okay, we'll do const edge, and that's only, say, bottom, say 30. Now there is this padding with it, and now this container, the parent container, we can apply padding or margin to it. Okay, let's see where we have this section over here. I think another thing we could do, we can define the width. Okay, or we don't need to. So over here we can define the margin. So const edge only, so left 20 and top, say, 100. Now it looks better, and we can also do right padding. Okay, so do right. So right already has a bit of padding, so we can apply another 10. Now as you see, it's working perfectly. We can scroll it, and I think I clicked somewhere. Okay, so logo app, so we are coming here. Now with this is going back to the earlier page. Okay, let's click on this. Now once again it's going back to the earlier page. Okay, now the problem is we don't want to go there, so we want to change this route over here. Once we click, we go to the content page. Okay, to content page. All right, so now let's go ahead and save it, run it. Okay, we are clicking on this button, and now we can scroll through it, but we can of course put an arrow over here, which we'll do very soon. And now you click on this one. Okay, yeah, so but with this I want to go to the home page, content page. So let's click on this. Yes, we are here. Now click on this, we are here. Click on this, we go to the home page. Now click on this, we come to this page over here. All right, okay. Another thing I think is looking a bit weird of this one, so it's the height. Let's change the height, which is over here. Is it too much? So what we can do, 280 or say 40. You can put more things down there, it's up to you. So but the basic structure has been done. Let's see, the null, I think we need to restart it, and then everything should be good. Let's see. Yes, it's working. Click on this, it's working. Now click on this. Yes, we don't have any error. Now click on this, we go back to this page. Okay, now you can put different kind of menus wherever you want. Okay, it will take you there. So if you want to put a menu, say for example for this one, it's pretty easy. So all you do is here use the property called AppBar, and then use the constructor. And of course here we can use some of the property which is called leading. Could take an item button, because we are going to be able to clickable. Okay, and then two properties we must use. One is on pressed. Okay, for now let's keep it null. And then we can also use what is the other property? It's called icon. Okay, now here we can use icon dot icons, sorry, it should be constructor icons dot say arrow. Now we want arrow back iOS, this one. Okay, now let's save it and see the result. Now what we'll do, we click on this thing. Oh, sorry, not this one, over here. Now as you see, we have this back button. Okay, of course it doesn't work because the event is not bound with it. So what we could do, we can just do get.back. So we just want to go back to the previous button, and it'll work right now. Okay, it works, right? I click on it, works. Now over here it's has a bit of padding, and the padding is coming because of this one. So instead of doing 100, now we can do just 10. All right, okay, so now this is the padding that we have. Now of course this is the back button. Okay, now as you see, we can come back. All right, okay, so it works. But the few other things we could do to change this background color. Okay, now the background color, I guess we can set it here, background color, and we want maybe this background color. And I guess I have this Photoshop over here, so let's just click from it on, yes, copied. Now change the color OXFF, this color. All right, now let's save it and see the result. Yeah, I think I'm pretty happy with this. Okay, yeah, I'm pretty happy. I think it's okay, but of course there's this bit of distance, this white space. Well, I can do it now, but it would be your homework. Let me know how you solve it. If you can't, then I'll let you know. Okay, this white space, that should be part of your homework. All right, okay. And what else? Of course, after this, these things are all clickable, as you see. All right, we click, just go back to that button. This is the previous page, and now we can click on this and this. Now you click on this, it'll take us to the home page. This is our home page. All right, you click on this, it comes here. Click on this, it go back to the earlier page. But if you navigate through it, now it will take to the home page. Right, so we want to change the icon. Instead of back arrow, this one, we want to have a home button. Now this is in detail page, so let's go ahead and fix it. All right, let us collapse them. Okay, now this is the icon I think we are using here. Of course it's not AppBar, it's we customized AppBar, I would say. I mean, that's what we made. All right, okay, so here instead of back, I would say home. So I think home button would work better outlined. Okay, yes, okay. Now I guess we can change the color of this thing. So do colors dot white. I guess with this it would look much better, so it takes us to home page. All right, now let's navigate it. So go back to home page. Now click on this. Now deep down in the app, now click here, it will take you to the home page. All right, okay, so that's all about this app. Now the next thing we want to do is over here, say for example you come here and click on this thing, and you can add it to favorites, things like that. And this would be pretty easy with Getx, and we already have this architecture. So what we could do, we could go ahead and create a new file, and we'll call it, say, DefaultAssetBundle.dart. Okay, so yes. Okay, now here we'll create a class. We'll call it DefaultController extends controller. I think it's a GetXController. Sorry, GetController, GetXController. Yes, right. Okay, now here we want to declare a variable. We'll call it var, say fav. Okay, and we'll do it, say default value is 0, and we want to make it observable, which means this would be a state variable, so it would keep the track of this value, and we'll see how it works. Okay, now over here in my detail page, you want to access this controller, and it's pretty easy. So what we could do, we can just call here, say final fav, final detail controller, and the variable name is fav, and get.put, then we'll call detail controller. Okay, so I guess we need to import them. All right. Okay, now this is called dependency injection. So this is a dependency. I mean, the app depends on this somehow, so that's why it's called dependency injection. We have a controller and we want to use it. When you use it, and the way you use it is called dependency injection. Okay, so we want to be able to click on this button and work with our dependency injection. Okay, now here, add to favorite, this one, right? Okay, look at this one. So over here, this is our container, this one, sorry, this one. And for now, we have this button here, icon, or sorry, icon. So now what you could do, we can, instead of doing that one, we can use icon button. Okay, now over here it takes this property, which is icon, and I guess we also need to use onPressed event, otherwise it will throw an error. Okay, for now it's null. Okay, now let's see what are the errors we are facing now. Okay, so I should wrap it around icon. All right. Okay, now let's see. We still have an error, so this one. All right, fine. Okay, now let's save it and see. Okay, now we could do one thing, just pass a log debug print hi. Okay, now let's click on this. Why do we have this error? Let's see. Okay, we're good now. Okay, now let's click on this, and we have printed hi, so that means it's working. So now here we want to invoke a function. The function we want to write here, we'll call it void fav counter. Okay, now we'll check if fav dot value is equal 1. Okay, now we'll give a message, get dot snackbar title loved it, you loved it. Okay, all right, now else if it's not 1, what do we do? First we'd increase the value plus 1 1, and then we'll send a message. But now I can say you already loved it. Okay, you just loved it. Just loved it. Okay, so we'll have a message like this. So with GetXController, it's very easy. They're getting the snack bar. Just you write get.snackbar and you send a message. All right. Okay, so now here we want to call it. Okay, do remember that early we initialized this variable fab, which is detail controller type, so we can access the methods and other resources from here. So that's why it's called resource injection. So we are injecting the resources over here. So what we could do, we can call fab dot fab counter, this one. All right. Okay, now let's start our app. Okay, all right, and let's see over here. Now we click on any of this. Okay, now you click on this, so you just loved it. Okay, now you click it one more time, is that you already loved it. Okay, so the messages are different. Okay, so that's how you can keep the track of your favorite items. But of course, in future tutorial we'll see how to submit this thing in the database. Okay, all right. So that's with detail controller. But now if you take a look at this one, there are a lot of variables that you can play around with this. Okay, and some of them could be very interesting. Let's see. We have the title, border, like box shadow, onTap is dismissible, blur, overlay, background and maximum width. So you can play around all of this, but for in this tutorial, which I'm not going to, because we can do a lot of other things. All right. Okay, so now with this section, I would say we are pretty much done. Now your homework should be to be able to create another JSON file, pretty much like this, but another JSON file, and show it here, and to be able to click on it. Okay, for now it's not clickable, but if you follow this section you'd be able to click. Okay, so your homework is over here, make it clickable. You go inside it and you will have a list like this, but with different information. Okay, all right, and then you'd be able to click on those things and go to a different kind of detail page as you want. Okay, so that's how you should do it. All right, this section I'm not going to do in this video, but this should be part of your homework, so you should do it and let me know if you're able to do it or not, and if not, then I'll help you. There are many different ways to do that. And of course in future tutorial we'll also see how to upload image from here and submit it to the server. So well, if you also want to have a Getx tutorial with backend, things like that, so don't forget to leave a comment below and we'll make videos based on that. Thank you so much. So for now we are done with this tutorial, and thanks for watching. And if you liked it, smash that like button, share the tutorial,